This week on Napa's North to Alaska, I'm taking the next 10 days off to relax. Larry, on the other hand, is doing no such thing.
Bear hunting, a little bit I've done, is 90% looking and 10% getting.
Yeah, it's 90% sheer boredom with 10% sheer terror.
Not excitement, sheer terror.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years since I glassed the mountains of Kodiak for a brown bear. It was a 9-day hunt. I took my friend George, 15 .375 cartridges, and a 65-pound backpack. I brought home a 45-pound backpack, 15 cartridges, and pictures of George's bear. Needless to say, my work on Kodiak wasn't over, and this year I got a chance to finish the job. The lottery finally drew my number, and once again, I was heading south for a giant Kodiak bear.
Kodiak Island is the second largest island in the U.S. and is legendary for its monstrous brown bears. A 7 or 8 foot Kodiak bear isn't considered impressive. A trophy here can stand 9 or 10 feet tall and weigh up to 1,300 pounds. Kodiak has 31 hunting units. Larry's drawn a permit for Unit 24, Uganic Bay on the north side of the island. Andrew Airways dropped Larry and the crew there, where they set up camp near the entrance of the drainage.
Firstly, we got beautiful weather. And secondly, we have one of the most gorgeous locations I've seen on Kodiak. Look around. It's the place to be. And hopefully, the bears think so too.
My hunting area was over 20 miles long and about 10 miles wide. Now obviously, we could never cover that much land on foot, so I chose this high knob as a base of operations, where we could glass the surrounding mountains and plan what bear to stalk.
Well, this is our first morning. We got camp set up yesterday afternoon and evening. And this morning early, we got up and had a ration of oatmeal, which was very good. And then we walked up to this knoll that overlooks the whole basin here. Thought we'd take a look, see if we could see any bears moving around, but we haven't yet. But we have seen a ton, just a ton of black-tailed Sitka deer. They're in groups of anywhere from 4 to 6. And we've seen at least 1 or 2 foxes. Seems to be a lot of fox and a lot of deer running around here.
That morning, we saw this guy heading out of the valley about 2 miles away. And then this beautiful boar just across the water about 350 yards from us. His pelt was perfect, exactly the quality I was looking for, but he was on the small side. But that evening, as the sun was setting, we saw this bruiser making his way into the valley, blowing through the snow like he was on a mission.
Follow that trail down, Larry.
Yeah.
He's about to cross it right now. See him
Right before he goes into the... Oh, I got him.
Got him?
Oh, I got him. That by far is the biggest bear we've seen since we've been in here. I mean, he's probably, as fat as he is, he's probably going to lay down.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to bed up for the night down there.
That's going to be a 2.5 hour trek.
At least.
It'll be tough, but at least we got a shot. It's just whether we can pick up his trail and locate him before he locates us.
And he's worth it.
Yeah, well, he looks like he's worth it. Looks like a big old bear.
So now we had a plan. Tomorrow morning, we'd head up through the valley to see if that bear and any others were accessible.
So, what'd you do today?
Spotted for bears. My eyes are sore.
I bet. Okay.
All right.
How long we do that? 12 hours?
Oh, yeah, we were up there for eye spotting for 13.
Okay, we'll see you in the morning.
All right, good.
This is our second morning. And unlike yesterday where we had bright, beautiful sunshine we woke to. This is overcast. Not really bad. It's threatening rain, but we have zero breeze. We're thinking about walking up the valley. Last night, from this perch that we've been glassing on, we put a big bar to bed there on the far side of the canyon about 9 or 10 o'clock. And the way he came down the mountain, we got him on Brett's spotting scope. He looked like an immense bear. So we were all pumped up, and we're going to walk into the ravine and see if we could ease up on where he's at, get up on a perch and see if we could locate him in the ravine where he went to bed. But we came back up to the spot before we're launching on the walk, and it appears that there's a trail coming back up out of that ravine, like he went back over the mountain. Why does the bear go over the mountain? I wish I knew, but evidently he got up and walked out. But because we're all geared up and ready to go, we're just going to do a little reconnaissance up the canyon. Now when we do that, we got to be really careful not to blow out any unsuspecting bears or stumble on them. So we're going to go very slow and cautious up the canyon and see what we can discover. Our perch, where we've been glassing the last day and a half, is right there. About a half a mile right there. But we couldn't see back up these cuts coming out of the valley, these little washes that run back up in here. So as we walk down through here, we're going to glass back up in those. What we don't want to do is just go blundering in and blow them out where they leave the valley entirely.
Bear in that cut back there, Larry, and he's disappeared into the alders, but he's at our level, and he's in the back of the valley there.
You got a good fix on where he's at?
And I got a good fix on where he's at.
If we walk up into where we were talking about going, will we be able to glass where you saw him?
We'll be able to see better than from here.
Okay.
For sure, so.
As we carefully picked our way up the valley, we stopped at each cut and thoroughly glassed the area for any other bears. Bears are so unpredictable that it's best to take your time and wait for them to make their move. The going was slow, but we knew there was at least one big bear in the valley right now. And even if we weren't seeing bears, the deer kept us entertained the whole time. If only the bears were that curious.
Dark spot up on the hill there.
We're within 150 yards, so anywhere up here, it may happen real fast. If we stumble onto the bear pops up and takes off, we're going to open up, so be ready.
But in the half hour it had taken to get within range, the boar must have moved a good distance. We waited for it to reappear, but in these alders and gullies, the bear might as well have been invisible. It was late afternoon, and we were at least 3 miles from camp. From the start, day 4 looked like it would be the turning point in the hunt. From our lookout, we spotted 3 bears in quick succession. They were all close, accessible, and had good pelts, but they were all too small. With so many bears active and close to us, and with the wind still favorable, we decided to trek into the valley again to see if the bigger ones were moving too.
So, we came down the bottom, a couple miles from camp, and we saw some bears, so we went up on a ridge. Saw the bears, and we went after the bears. Set our backpacks down, and went down that ridge, into a ravine, up onto another ridge, down a ravine, into another ridge, and then along a flat top. By then I was pretty tired. The bears gave us the slip, so we went back down the flat top, back down that ravine, and up over that little hill, and back down that wash to the creek, crossed the creek, walked across this bog, or little bog here, came up 2 small foothills to here to have lunch. Then It didn't sleet on us, it hailed on us. You gotta like bear hunting. Matter of fact, you gotta love bear hunting to do it.
Unfortunately, the weather didn't let up for the rest of that day and all of the next. But when we got up early on day 6, hey, the clouds had lifted a bit and we started another hike up the valley.
There's a bear.
There's 2 trees. Yeah, look at the binoculars. Yeah.
This was definitely the size I was looking for. And from what I could see of him at this distance, his coat appeared to be in very good shape. It was time to close on this guy.
About 75 yards from where this bear bedded down. We're just waiting. It's really the only thing we can do right now to see if it'll get up. Because we got really thick brush in between us. And there's going to be no way that we can sneak up any closer at this time. 75 yards is pretty close, but he's laying right up there at the edge of an alder, kind of in a row. He's got some in front of him, so we're just waiting for him to stand up and kind of resituate, and maybe we'll get an eye on him.
Now that boar, Brett says it's right up there on that edge. I got confused on the way up. I thought it was over there. He says it's right there on that edge. It's where we last saw him. And now we're in a spot right below him. But the question is, do we go up there and try to run him out? Or do we wait here for him to make the move? Sort of like Jimmy Durante used to say, you really want to stay, but you know you gotta go. Or then you gotta go, but you really want to stay. It's one of those dilemmas. If you don't know who Jimmy Durante is, shame on you. If you want to find out, Google Jimmy Durante.
So now the waiting game. Would he lie there 5 minutes or 4 hours? When he suddenly headed down into the thick alders, we started scrambling to get into position in the valley.
There he is, right there.
All right.
You see him?
Yeah, I got him. I don't have a shot at him now. All right. He's behind some trees.
There he is. He's moving along the river right here.
All I got's brush. We need to close on him. I see a black spot, but I don't think it's him. All right, let's go.
Can't hear much over the stream is the problem.
Back in there.
So, yet another big one slipped away into Kodiak's dense brush. If I was going to take one in the remaining 3 days, it seemed we'd have to catch it out in the open. And so far, only the young, small bears were being that careless. Well, we made 3 treks up the valley and been outmaneuvered each time. Now on day 7, The wind changed and was blowing directly up the valley, so we decided to stick right to our spotting knoll and wait for the activity to happen close by.
Shows you never know where they're going to pop out. We've been looking for, what, an hour this morning, and all of a sudden we looked up and there was one on the beach.
About 300 yards from us.
Yep.
Well, you know, when you talk about that, it seems like when you're not hunting bears,
They're not so shy.
they're out your gazoo. I mean, they're everywhere. We're walking around them, particularly over here in Kodiak. You got to wade through bears every time you're fishing. Of course, that's because they're all down at the river, and that's where the fish are. But that's not hunting season, and it just seems like you can't do anything without having to skirt and go around a bear, you know.
Yep.
Then you come up here for bear season, and all of a sudden they're
gone.
history.
They're real shy.
I wonder if those are the same deer that were walking up to us yesterday.
I think that part of them are.
Boy, those are healthy blacktails, aren't they?
Yeah, they're looking good. They're going to be real healthy this year.
Man, you're going to have a spectacular deer season here this year. And if you have one more soft winter, it might guarantee a deer for 4 or 5 years without some extreme happening, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes our winters will take out 50% of them.
But now you've had, what, 2 soft winters in a row?
Yeah, pretty good winters for them. This one especially.
Well, when you say hard or soft winter, you're talking about the fact that the snow and ice doesn't get so thick all the way to the water that they can't feed, right?
They can't move. It'll get so if it gets real deep all the way down to the water, they have a real hard time just moving, and they huddle up and they end up starving. They're all worn down from rutting. If they get hit hard at that time, that's a real critical time for them to gain their energy back.
Into the ruts right at the beginning of winter.
Right.
Oh, man.
So.
That's the same bear we saw yesterday on the beach, isn't it?
Yeah, we saw her last night coming back to the camp, and she was in almost the same place.
Got a beautiful pelt.
Yeah.
I wish she was in season. If she was in season, there'd be some boars down there with her.
I wish she was a 9-foot boar.
Well,
while we're wishing, we might as well make her a 10-foot boar.
Yeah. You got a beautiful coat. She's just too young, too small. You don't come out here to hunt that.
Back on the mainland, there's usually no question about taking a 7 or 8 foot bear. But out here on Kodiak, those are small ones. Now, what makes the difference?
Napa Auto Parts is proud to present Napa's Inside Alaska.
Probably the reason Kodiak bears are bigger than other bears is the amount of food they have in a small area. As you can see, they've got the green stuff, they've got stuff that washes up in the beach during the winter. As spring progresses, they've got green stuff that goes all the way up to the alpine. Once it gets green there, they've got salmon to boot, more salmon than they know what to do with. When the salmon start going away, they've got plenty of berries. So they've got all the food they need in one small area. Population density is among the highest in the world. We've got roughly 3,500 bears here on Kodiak. The islands are about 5,000 square miles. So it shakes out to be a little under 1 bear per square mile. The bears don't move from one end of the island to the next. They tend to stay in their own drainage or two. So when you have animals that are making use of their local resources, you can have a higher carrying capacity because they're not all competing with each other for one particular thing. The size of the bears is comparable to previous years. About 9% are going to be Boone and Crockett size, 28 inches or larger. And that's kind of what we aim for, is to have a good number of large-sized bears.
And if I was going to get one of those this year, I only had 2 days left. Well, to make a long hunt short, there's no bear packed in those bags for the flight home. On the last day, I had one more opportunity to take a 7-footer close to camp. But because 3 big ones had evaded me and survived the week, I accepted that I'd had my chance. Why take it out on this little guy? After all, on Kodiak, every bear has a chance to be huge. And there's a huge chance that I'll be back. For more information on activities in the Kodiak area, contact Andrew Airways at 907-487-2566 or look them up on the web at andrewairways.com. Plates from Anchorage were provided by Era Aviation. Call toll-free 800-866-8394 or flyera.com. Join us next week for a detailed look at bear hunting in Alaska. We'll discuss locations, trip planning, and field tips for your Alaskan bear hunt.